Hello and welcome. Yeah. What a day so far. Sitting on Instagram, trying to figure out what the hell the name of things are. Oh my god. Hold on. There I am. All right. All right. What we do need is coffee. We need a sip. Yeah. So take a sip of coffee. Remember that I'm on Instagram. Hello, Charlene. YouTube. And if you're on my YouTube, like and subscribe. Push the notification button, you know? Oh, my goodness. And yeah, it snowed here again in Calgary, and it's going to snow again tomorrow. So, welcome to spring. I know everybody says, "Oh, but you live in Calgary and you're in the foothills and blah blah blah." Well, no, I don't care. That's just dumb rhetoric talk. Yeah, just crazy. But I mean, hey, the good thing is that we do need the moisture. Driving around today, doing our morning little jaunts and errands and things. The one thing I did notice was the trees are sad. The trees were feeling very sad. Hey, Lexi. And why were the trees feeling sad? I think it's because it just felt like they were feeling the heaviness of the weight. I don't know. That's what I was picking up. But they're just feeling sad. So, welcome. Last day of April. Oh, shit. What a month, right? I mean, it's been a month, and we're at the end of it. And this morning I was doing a meditation, and as I was meditating, sometimes when I meditate I have to write and write things out as they're coming in. So I'm writing and I guess some people will call it channeling. So I was channeling this morning, channeling. I'd like to say that, channeling. So here I was channeling this morning. And being the last day, and it's 30 days, this is the last day as we step into a world like no other. This is a day as you enter, give thanks for the blessings you have. Give thanks for the family, friends, and community. We thought the world was changed 4 years ago. We now enter into a world of never ending change. I see how the energies of the fairies and other dimensional beings are going into hiding. This is a time of trust, true trust in the guidance of God, for only through Him will we discover the joy of this world. We will have a glimpse. There will be wondrous healings brought forth and new ways to nurture the land, but will not go widespread for 7 years. So, one of the things I did feel and see is this the magical energy is there, but it's almost like we are in an energy that's kind of dried up. Meaning, and this is my perspective, people. So who's ever here, come on into my crazy corner. Come on into Mama's corner and have a cup of coffee. And what do you have in your coffee this morning, Mama? Water, milk, and sugar. Nothing else. But in my perspective, and what I'm seeing, and especially when it comes to the Fae and the other multidimensional beings, is that being able to sense them very much so, and having a sense and a feeling of them. And even when you go by, I have friends who own, certain properties. And in these properties that there are dimensional beings that live there. And what I have noticed in the last little while, and I thought, well, okay, just I didn't think anything of it, but the dimensional beings are hiding away. Like they're kind of like moving, back. they're still there, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit harder to obtain that that type of energy. Hey, you leave that stuff alone. That that type of energy. Not saying that people won't, but it's not going to be the same. So we had where there was like a breakout, and there were so many people breaking out. And in this breakout, there were beautiful spiritualists and spiritual people coming into the forefront, and coming out and talking and connecting and really building. But now it's like those who've come out, they can't. I mean, those that have come out, some are going. They're not going to be around, meaning either they're not going to do this practice anymore, uh, and they're done. And they're done. They're done doing it. And I feel like this is sort of the day where everything begins to really, really, really change. Um, we started seeing change, and it was back with the pandemic and everything else that was going on 4 years ago. And astrologically, we started seeing those changes happen. But to really come down and witness them, I don't think it really hit the gravity of what was unfolding. And today is a day that when I woke up this morning and I just got, yeah, today's the day. Today's the day that makes the change. Today's the day that we will never, ever, ever, ever be able to go back. And people are going to try. I mean, there is a law that's trying to be passed in Canada by this stupid guy in Parliament. I mean, there's a lot of stupid guys in Parliament, but he wants to ban cell phones. And, sometimes, yeah, ban them. Yeah, ban them. And I'm like, why? Like, this is the new, this is what the kids know. And it's the way that you teach them to utilize the tools. That's how I'm looking at it. It's like you got to teach them to utilize the tools that are there, to have respect and follow through, right? There's no follow through. But this is like, no, go back to the old ways, sit in the desk, behave yourself, do not talk back, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, no, it's like that old, that and that's what we're going to be witnessing. We're going to see many who want, I want this back, I want it to be this way, and it can't. We can't go back. It's like, when the energies of Pluto and Libra came through, and then and Saturn came into to Libra. I mean, when Pluto went into Libra, that changed the way relationships were forever. I mean, then, when Pluto came in, it was like, it was back in the 80s, and you started to really see how, like from the 50s, it was all marriage. Pluto in Leo was all marriage and connection and family, and then, as it came into Virgo, it's like, okay, what are we doing? What is our service? How are we doing things? Our connections. And that is when people found out about, how we feel, like, because it was all about healing. What are we healing? Our awareness, our rights, and the rights of children. And so all of this was starting to come out in Libra, and bringing in that justice. And even there was huge studies on psychology, and how the psyche works and the mind works, and how we adjust to certain things. And uh schizophrenia, and even testings with LSD and etc. were being done quite heavily during Pluto and Virgo. But then we come into Pluto and Libra. You got to follow me with this. And then we started to see relationships change. Gay marriages were accepted. People were stepping out and becoming more of who they were, which was fine. It was great. We said, okay, cool. And people were like, okay, cool, I can be me. Boy George, Queen, all of the all of the bands at the time basically had backcomb hair and makeup. So if you were gay during that time, it was great because you could just dress up and nobody would just think the difference of it, right? It was like, cool, all right, you know, and we started to see this change, this, and then justice, and wanting to know more about justice and what that justice was, and understanding the rights of others and what the rights, what that maintained. Fast forwarding, going all the way where Pluto is now. Now Pluto's going to be stationary tomorrow, and it's going to go retrograde. And this is like the Aquarius energy. And now the Aquarius energy, did a little bit of a deep dive too with this. I mean, this comes in where, and especially with the Pluto being in there, Pluto is about our DNA and a restructuring of our DNA. Hence, when I saw with the Pluto and Saturn conjunction in Capricorn, and as it was going through, I knew there was going to be some kind of restructuring of DNA. And as we go into Pluto into Aquarius, it's this new way of bringing in a restructuring, especially of the meridians within our body and the electrical system, and that's the Aquarius energy. And with the DNA energy, the replication and repairing and learning to surrender to the change that is happening, what I have noticed, because we are going through such a restructuring through our system, I feel like it's almost like the magical, and we're going to call it the magical energy, is sort of watching. They're off to the side watching. That's how I'm seeing it. And I'm seeing how um through this, that and especially through our eyes, the perception in our eyes, and what Sag also is about our eyes, the rods and the cones, and the rods are the night, and the cones are for the bright light and the multiple lights for us to decipher. That this is about us coming back into this void, of restructuring of our own selves, of our own connection, and how we are coming into a connection not only to ourselves, and not necessarily within the shadow, but within this piece. Now I remember doing studying the doing um studying shamanism, and this is like before the internet, basically many moons ago, where they asked us, for part of the day, and I kind of enjoyed this. I did this when the kids were in school, is find the darkest place in your house where you could go anywhere, and with no light can enter. And that's really difficult, 'cause it's amazing when you, even if you go into a closet, there's sometimes a little bit of light can come in. So I put up some stuff on the wall and stuff so no light would come in. But to sit there, and at first time doing that and sitting into this darkness, just in total darkness, at first it's kind of like, whoa, because it's your mind just freaks out. But after a while, it's kind of like you begin to crave it. You crave that, going back into that darkness, going back into that void, because it is very nurturing. And when you allow yourself to embrace it and allow it to nurture you, it is amazing how it begins to nurture you and restructure you. And I feel for that of the magical community, because of the changes that are going on within the humankind, the ones that walk this earth, they are even going through a restructuring of themselves and going through a change in many ways. And so they have to go back to that place of nurturing, back to that place where it's like, okay, we need to be down here for a while. We'll be around to help them, but the human race is going through a dramatic change. And today, I feel, is the day that we're really going to be stepping into it. So May 1st is going to be the beginning of this 7-year journey. And the 7-year journey, and I say 7 years because the cycle of 7 is it's an easier one to follow. And then we break down the 7-year cycle right down to even a month to month with the rotation of the moon and working with the rotation of the moon. But this is coming into where this is a day, as we give thanks. And this moon, as it is entering, especially Aquarius, this is deep, far reach places in the field of potentiality. And with the Madridians in our electrical system and the Pluto that's ruling the DNA, the replication and repairing and the surrendering is so important. This is a time where we do need our minerals, like salts and trace minerals are very important to have. And taking in different sea salts, looking into different types of sea salts and hydration. So bringing in that hydration. So cellular hydration is very important over, I'm going to say, for continually through this year, and looking at how you are going to be hydrating your body. And sometimes it's not just water, because water can actually dehydrate you if it doesn't have the proper trace minerals that are in there. And then you can go through a dehydration. So like our tap water, I don't think is hydrating for our body. There's a lot of things within our tap water that has, some people have chlorine in it and fluoride and different things that are within our water system. So it's not really hydrating. So finding, where if you are able to bring in spring water, have a container with spring water. And so that is going to be more hydrating. Having a filtration system is going to be important too over the next while, because we were wanting to have to be able to ground ourselves and bring in that grounding as we are molecularly, got to say that word right, changing. And as we are changing within our own, deep within the structures of our code and the subconscious emotional aspects of the mental nature. Now, as we, from the solar eclipse that we just had, the solar eclipse and the ruling of the eyes, it was in Aries. Not, this was to bring in this huge cleansing. Now, it was amazing how many said, don't go out in it. I mean, my grandson wasn't even allowed outside, right? And, and the windows were shut. And Eddie was saying that one of his buddies, who's a teacher, Phil, he's a teacher in Kamloops. He said, yeah, we had to close. We were told by the school board that all the windows, all the shutters had to be closed, which is closed. I mean, he's in BC, for Christ's sake. They didn't even get hardly any of the eclipse. As we got more of the eclipse than what they got. So this change is, of a new coding, of a new activation that's coming in, and that's happening. It was coming in. It's here. It's happening, and through the eyes, it's deep within our DNA and our coding and our recoding. So that's what we're doing. We're going to be recoding, and that's what I feel the magical community, the magic people are doing, like the fairies and the spliffs and all the other creatures. So it's going to be where they're not going to be around. They're not going to be as easily connective. We're going to feel them sometimes, but I feel like where, especially when it comes to a lot of the land and the things that are going to be going through the transformation of the land, like the devas of the land, this is where I feel, yeah, I know. Um, like I just got like the potato famine and that happened in Ireland. Um, and people, but they forgot, they forgot how to utilize, there was research, there was food there, like the Fae brought food there, but people were so reliant on this, what they called the man-made food, and being reliant on this man-made food, the potatoes, that they forgot that there was burdock and nettle and dandelions, and there was wild garlic and so many other foods that was there, but people forgot. So this is kind of like where we are entering into, I'm going to say, like a dark age of really relearning and reconnecting with the land and reconnecting. But we're not going to get the full understanding for a good 7 years. And I feel one of the things that is coming through and what I see and sense, because there's been such a disconnection, especially with the land, even the farmers, there's such a disconnection with the farmers and the land that, where they, thinking that rototilling is the way to do it, or laying plastic down and then putting, the soil on top to sort of to stop the weeds, and just the way that we've been taught how to grow our our food has been a total disconnect. And I mean, this has happened way before it was happening. I mean, we got a taste of it in the 30s with the Dust Bowl because of what was going on. And I think there was hoping to be awakening, but they also knew about the rumblings that was beginning to happen, and that was the World War, that was World War II. Same thing. They were hoping that we would get it, but we didn't, right? Celtic salt on the tip of your tongue before you drinking water. Yeah. I would put it in my water and just have it in my water bottle, shake it up and stuff. Um, but this is where a connection and a reconnection is needing to happen with it, but it's going to take us some time because there's been such a disconnect. So through this, what, with the movement, and especially with Pluto going retrograde, going back into Capricorn, is that we are going to spicy chihuahua mode. Yeah. I'm ignoring her because I can't focus on her. Um we are going through such a change, you know, um DNA wise, molecularly, where our whole humanoid of who we call ourselves as humans and who we call how we think as humans, or our DNA is, that there is a reconstruction of it, and a recoding, and through the eyes, with a deep within the DNA, coding and recoding and mutation and replication, and the divine codes, and the content and the amount of solar activity. The code energies enter the field, and the codes through our meridians with the moon, and the moon activation in Aquarius is a huge one. Our individual biofields enhanced, and with the Pluto intensifies it. So our energy is totally enhancing, but we have to integrate it within our cellular, like down to the mitochondria, down to our cellular basis. And in doing this, that means revamping in how we do everything. If you are getting, making sure that when you are with your produce, even if you grow your own produce, right? Um, Making sure that it's clean, you wash it with and soak it in water and vinegar and lemon juice. It's like getting, allowing yourself to really get back to that reconnection with your food. Um, and doing blessings, like it's because there's such a disconnect, and I just keep on getting back to the farmers, and how, like in England, they've had so much rain that they're going to have a really bad barley season this year. It's like either it's like rain or drought kind of thing, but they've had, excessive amounts of rain there than normal, even though we know it rains in England, but they've had a lot more than usual. Where here, we're not going to get the rain. and it's not going to have the rain. So we're going to go through such a drought this year. And it all comes back to every single one of a disconnect with the earth and a disconnect of who we are. So we've entered into this cycle of a revamping. And I'm gonna, if you don't know anything about permaculture, start reading about permaculture, especially if you're a gardener. If you do raised beds, start really looking into how you're doing the raised beds. What are you putting in your raised beds? Um, and have, and that connection. This is really looking in how we are doing what we are doing. And I just get, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of the fairies and a lot of the devas and that are not going to be as active as what they have been, because because of people's disconnection. And for them, it's a disrespect. It's a disrespect. And when you piss off the devas and the fairies, after a couple hundred years, they're just like, fuck you. Let me see you guys learn a little bit. Let me see how you guys can reconnect. And that's not reconnecting by hydroponics. Hydroponics is great for, certain things, but we still need the nutrients of the earth. There's something about the nutrients of the earth that we really need within our bodies, and that's part of our coding, as above, so below. I mean, even with that solar eclipse, I mean, there was a whole coding that was being downloaded, and they didn't want a lot of people, especially the children, to receive that coding, right? And that's really crazy. I'm hoping the ones here are still happy with what we are doing. No, they're not. They're not. It's everywhere. It's not just one land. I don't want to be, it sounds mean. I don't want to sound mean, but they're not. And that's the thing, is like, it's just not, because the land doesn't end. The land doesn't end at a fence. The land doesn't end at a fence. Where we think it ends at a fence because that's our land, but the land doesn't end in a fence. You know, um, the whole planet is their home. Exactly. It doesn't end there. And it's not saying that they're not going to be around, but they're not going to make the appearances that they have. And in what has been going. And it's also, it's like, I know many are really try to be organic, and especially when it comes to getting rid of the weeds and everything else and what they do. But it is where it's the lines, it's the vibration through it. It's like, you might be doing something over here, but the guy across the street doesn't give a fuck, right? So it's learning how to reconnect. Wilding, we hear about wilding, but wilding in a way that is bringing forth, and this is what I keep on seeing, bringing forth this creativity, bringing forth this reconnection with how things are growing. If you look at how farmers used to be, like how they were connected, and how they connected with wild, like wilding, I'm going to call it, where like, if you go into the forest, they knew in the forest. And that's why I went back to the potato famine, because there was a disconnection with the farmers in Ireland in what they were doing. They weren't connected back with the land. They thought they were connected with the land, but there were so many things that happened with that, and how they took the land, and they sold it out. I mean, they took the food and sold it elsewhere, and didn't sell the food or allow the food back for the people and everything. But the people, this was like almost where it was like, yeah, even at that time, was saying, why aren't you connecting with us? The food is here. But it's a relearning. It's a relearning of how to bring the food. It's like, so many of us, it's automatic, we plant things in a row. We plant everything in a row. Like if I have a garden, I'm going to plant everything in a row. But there's ways of connecting and how, Mother Nature knows what works together and what doesn't work together. And this is where another part of learning of how to reconnect with everything, right? And how we can reconnect. And as we are going through, this is where it's like to and we're coming into, especially with our foods and the electronics, right? There's a time and a place for electronics, but if you're eating, move the electronics away. Don't have your phone beside the food you eat, right? Turn the TV off. Enjoy the food that you have. Enjoy the nutrients that are coming with you. This is part of it, and washing the food. And so that's that you're clearing your food energetically, like, you wherever you buy it or wherever you get it, clearing it energetically with it. So I'm going to say to people, if you don't have your Reiki, get your Reiki. I'm thinking of actually starting to teach it again and starting to bring in more of the coding when it comes to learning your energetic healing and learning how to energetically, bringing forth that energy into the land and into your body and into the land. And this is also about detoxification. So the protection, this is coming in for the protection. Pyrite. And it's funny, my grandson gave me a pyrite and I carry it with me. He got pyrite. I don't know where the hell he got the pyrite from, but he got pyrite. And he got three pieces of pyrite. And he gave one to his mom, one to me, and he keeps one. And and it's weird because he doesn't usually give me stones because mama has stones, right? But he said, "Mama, this is for you. You have to have this on you," right? And then I was doing another, study and deep dive thing, and pyrite kept coming up as being one of the stones to help with the protection and the frequencies that are coming into Gaia right now, and help us to integrate it, especially with the amount of solar flares and everything that are coming in. I follow someone who, when he gardens, he plants different things beside each other. So each plant, yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's part of permaculture, you know, um, and learning the permaculture way. And I think, I don't know if it's the same guy, but he does the keyhole things and does it like a keyhole, and it's like you just do this, you don't have to do as much maintenance, with everything. Companion planting, yeah, exactly. So this is important, like, for us to utilize, like, and bringing forth what used to be here and growing those things, right? And having those connections with the two. But of course, people, we can't have it because we have cows or we have this and we have that. Shungite is another good one. Yeah, shungite is good. Shungite's a coal and stuff, but pyrite's better. Right now, it's pyrite. Shungite you can add to your water and stuff in the filtration and things like that. But my through what I've been reading, because it is, pyrite is the one that is really helping, especially for people who are are the light workers, are the ones who are the healers and etc. So pyrite, because pyrite also helps the DNA and the RNA and the repairs and the protection, and it helps to clear out the blocks and the detoxification, and clears the pathways. So that's what the pyrite does. So the pyrite is a really, fabulous cleanser. The other thing was saunas. So infrared saunas to help detox, or red light therapy. So having that. So if you're able to do those things, and be aware of your perception and your viewing, right? And paying attention to what you are viewing, what you are absorbing. And this is all part of the change in the transition. Beautiful healings are going to be coming through, but we are not going to be able to really access them and utilize, like, we're going to hear about things like, uh, it's called diamond quantum healing. And the diamond quantum healing, well, the people who are doing it right now, I mean, it's like for a 2-hour session, on average, it's $1,400 or more for this session, and it's supposed to be absolutely phenomenal. But that's what they have to charge right now, because it's not only, because of what they've received and the information they receive, and it's the exchange of energy. And I know many of you are going to say, oh, $1,400. But in order for them to continue doing what they're doing, they have to do that. They have to charge these prices because of other things. But as things go, as the time goes, it's just like Reiki. As time goes, the price will drop because more people are going to be integrated, but it's going to take a while to integrate. It's not like you can learn this on a weekend and teach it on Monday. That's not how this is. This is about integrating this all new energy, these new frequencies into your body. First time when Reiki started to come out, it was about integrating it. I mean, they had 2 hospitals in Japan before World War II, a regular hospital and a hospital with for Reiki healing. And you would go into the Reiki hospital first, and then you would go into the Western hospital or the regular hospital, and then you'd go back to the Reiki hospital. And then somebody in your house would be trained to a level 1 to continue that healing with you until you're healed. Can you imagine? Now that was that was prior to World War II. That's the energy that's coming in because we lost it. We lost it. And now it's like, okay, even though many modalities and different energies like bars and all of that came out, and all of these different, I see Charlene, donkey healing and all this kind of, dolphin healing, all were coming out, and sonic healings were all coming out. But you're going to find that all of these healings, their frequency isn't sustainable, or it isn't there, that magic or that essence, because we are being recoded. And in order to be recoded, that means we are coming into a different frequency. And within that frequency, there is new modalities that are coming in, but those modalities we have to integrate, just like they did with Reiki. And starting, so if I'm saying, if you guys don't have your Reiki, get your Reiki. Get it. Because there is that is going to be the grounding, or the basis, the baseline of everything else coming forth. And if you can get that baseline and start using, if you got your level 1, if you got it, start utilizing it. Start utilizing, because that's going to help to open doorways for other things. I know I'm a master, and I've had it for a long time. I've had, I think, 25 years. I've had it, but this is, reintegrating it, bringing it back, starting to use it. I've been starting to notice that I'm using, every time I'm using my Shokure, Seiheki, Hanche, Se Shonen, Deiko Mio, Deiko Mio, Deiko Mio, starting to bring back that energy and starting to utilize it in what I'm doing. But it is so, so important to start to utilize it. Same with different activations and prayers, right? This is going to be important. This is what this cycle is. Now, the 7 years is just sort of the new branch being born. That's what it is. And this new branch being born, this new branch is just coming out. It's just like, if you ever seen a new branch coming out on a tree, it's just like, here I am. Hello. I'm just starting to come out. So this is just starting to come out. And if you know anybody who's doing any of the quantum healing or anything like that, step into it. I know Deepak Chopra has been doing it for a number of years. There's been quite a few different people that have been doing it for a number of years. So it's stepping into this new realm. And it's going to take, because our frequency as it is changing, it's going to start to come back and match that of the devas and the fairies and the other magical energies that are within our world. Because right now, our energies dance. And it's very difficult. it's very difficult for for those energies to connect and communicate with us because our energy is so dense. And there's going to be few that you're going to see, some of the new, newer children that have come into this world, and plus some of the new children that are going to be coming into this world are going to be few and far between for the next 20 years. So we're going to have a few and far between of these, but the ones that are going to be there are going to be extremely unique, and they're going to create a new vibration with this all as we're going to go through um, the biggest disruption we've ever lived in our life. And this disruption is something, unfortunately, we have to go through. And in going through it, it is going to bring forth the changes that need to happen, bring forth the reconnections that need to happen. But it's going through this at the end of the 7-year cycle starts another cycle that is going to be one of branching out in new and fostering newness. That's all I got is newness. So it is, yeah, this is pretty crazy. Um, with a lot of this coming through and the energies that are coming in and coming back to the essences. So those who know and who've been trained in a lot of this um, have to step up their game. And in stepping up their game is for some it's not going to be easy, right? And in stepping up their game means that they have to step into their worth as well, and that's another big one too. So yeah, this is raw consciousness. This is deeper look within you and turning inward. This is like really beautiful rawness, and the energy or the essence I see within it is like almost it's very it's like a golden egg, like energy that's deep, deep within inside the humans, the humanness, the human spirit, the human people, human people. I'm human, I think. But it's very deep. And it's doing what you've been taught. If you've got a lot of this, start to do it. If you've taken a class in uh, essential oils, start bringing out your essential oils. If you've taken a thing in horticultural and permaculture, start bringing that out. If you get a calling and that's what you feel like your calling is, find the class, find that connection, because through that is going to bring in other information, other connections, right? And that's the thing. It's like you're gonna find that it's like, well, you're looking it's sort of like in the muggle world for a job, like me. I'm looking for a job. Can't find one, and then I think, oh, maybe I have to look harder. And it's just like, no, I have to start looking within and looking at myself within, and what is it that I need to start bringing out more. And I know I get very exhausted. I get very worn out with in my work. I do. I do get worn out. I need to have time to recoup. And that's just because I'm a projector. And being a projector is that you need to have time for your solar plexus to um, rejuvenate itself, right? And plus I need to be with people. I need to be out there and connecting with others and having those connections. If I'm not, then that's where things I feel my energy really dies down. And that's the whole thing. It's like, start looking at how your energy is. Some people aren't. Some people can just go like a motorized, like boom, 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 boom. It's crazy. My number 2 son, he's a manifestor generator. My daughter's a manifestor. My youngest son is a projector. And seeing how their energies are all different. Owen always needed his sleep and his cuddles. He needed to have that. He needed that connection, right? My daughter's a manifester. Like, she wants to create something, she will go out and she will create it. She will make it happen, good or bad, right? And my next son is like, you wonder why he has horseshoes up his ass. He's a manifestor generator. Just like, well, okay, this is what I need to do. All right. And it just unfolds. Sometimes it's chaotic and crazy, but and plus they have the energy to do it. Like, my number 2, he can't sit still. Like, he'll say to me, he goes, man, I can't stay home any longer. He has to be out. He has to go rollerblading. He has to go playing golf or tennis or anything. Like, he has to keep that physicality going, that energy, because it's constantly revamping. But once he's done, whoop, he's done. He's just sound asleep on the couch. Like, he'll come over and visit, and next thing, what are you doing? Oh, Eddie's sleeping, because he's done. Right? Until he rejuvenates, and then off he goes. So this is a day we're stepping into a new day, like a new world. And in a world that is going to unfold and the unfolding is going to be disruptive and chaotic and messy and scary, but in it there's going to blossom a lot of beauty through it. But it's to stay grounded within it all, and then we'll discover the beauty. There you are. Let's bring in the fairies, even though they tell me they're not going to be around. So if you guys have any questions or anything, definitely you can book in a session. And tonight is Journey Club. So if anybody wants to join me for Journey Club, and now I know why we're only doing booklet number 1. Now I know why they said, no, just do booklet number 1. Because people are reintegrating that energy within them. And that's why we're doing booklet number 1 only. It's because people have to be rebuilt, right? I'll try it to start. Oh, cool. And what are you doing with it? Like, what is it? Like, what am I asking? It's like, are you talking about the nymphs or is that what you're talking about? Like, when you, because okay, when you said dry, the first thing I thought were, can I do payments? Yes. Or you leave offerings for fairies, because a dryad is spirits of the oak tree. That's what my understanding of the dryad are, right? So, and leave offerings for the fairies. Yeah, I mean, it's not. Okay. People are still going to be doing that and leaving offerings, but the thing is that's great. And it's like they're like, yeah, this is how I'm seeing it. It's like, that's fine, but what are you doing? Cool, thank you for the treat, but are you utilizing any of the frequencies and the things that you have obtained within inside of yourself, like and building it, right? And the thing is that, as I said, they're not always going to be around, because of the changes that are happening within the world. Yeah. I have you down, Lexi. I'm going to be sending out the link right after this to everybody who's scheduled, registered for Journey Club tonight. So yeah, so no, don't worry about that, honey. Is it's still a fairy, is it not? A dryad? A nymph, a nature spirit who lives in the trees. That's what a dryad is. So a nymph, that a spirit that lives in the tree. That's what it is. So, do you have a tree in your store? I mean, the fairies are still there, and I think how do I explain this? If you I guess it's learning new things and getting new things and reactivating and coming into the quantum energy and coming into this new. Okay. So, but the thing is that they're not going to be as active as what they were. So, for instance, yeah, we won't get into that. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Let's pull some cards. The Five of Summer. So trust there's a reason for everything that happens. Remove yourself from negative emotions. So the Five of Summers, summers I always get as hot and being the hot and having that hotness, right? So there's this heat that's coming in with everything, and sometimes you can get burnt. So this is focusing on that which frightens or worries you. Like if you're around yourself or have these negative thoughts, being aware of the negative thoughts that are coming in for you, because in comes the spring. So the spring is renewal, right? The spring comes in and there's a renewness with this, and there's this beauty, this charm, this energy of springtime that comes forth. So there's action. So noticing how you're feeling about everything and then coming into where you need to take action to move forward into something new, to move forward into some new way of doing something or learning. And as you do that, you come into that, you step into with long term, like you have patience with what you are doing, but you're going to step into the long term. So things are going to come in, but you got to look at what's scaring you, what is holding you back from stepping into the newness, because there's something new that wants to come in and that wants to activate and wants to bring forth something, satisfying for you. So in comes the Three of Spring, in comes this energy of dancing, and here we are, we're looking at things and we're coming together and we're having a great time, but we're stepping out into the newness. We're stepping out into that new energy. And as we do that, there's optimism. There's optimism that comes in with it. So there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of things that are coming in that are extremely positive here, but there's a huge change, in the way we do things, in the way things are activated, and how we are creating. And it's coming back to how we are coming back into ourselves and coming back into that void, coming back into that healing to allow for the newness. And it's going to take some time for things to come back. And when I say the fairies aren't going to be around when the nuclear blast happens. It's not the first time that this has happened on Earth. I mean, yeah, we can go back to World War II, but even before then, they know about the gods. They know about what happened with the gods. And they retreated then. They said, no, we're not being a part of this right now. Man has to learn. Man has to recreate themselves. And that's where we're coming in. Man has to learn how to recreate themselves, but we have to allow them to do it on their own. And that's where it is. So that's where it's, with the meditation, it's like we have to, when we look at the fairies and stuff, that's only 2-dimensional. That's only small. We have to come into the true trust in the guidance of God, not, and of that. And I'm going to say the word God, of God, for only through him will we discover the joy of this world. So in order to discover any joy that's coming into this world, we have to allow ourselves to come into a trust in that divineness, because the others aren't going to give it. So there you guys go. Have a blessed one, and may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you. Enjoy this day. Take heed. Make sure you're grounded. A lot of activation. Mercury's just gone into Aries, so there's a lot of activation that's happening right now, and a lot of change that's coming forth. So, May is going to be a very heavy month. So let us just take it one step at a time right now. All right. So blessed be everybody. We'll talk to you soon. And if you're interested in joining me tonight, definitely let me go and let me know. Let me go and let me know. And it is $75 for the 4 weeks. So blessed be everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.